Hey guys, and welcome to this next part of the sad story of Emmeline Burns. When we last left off, we're in the cemetery. Our name is Toma. And we learned a lot about Toma, like how she got her name. She was going to be Amelia, but not so much for that, because her aunt stole that name. And how she has a weird obsession with cemeteries because of her mother. Alright, well, let's get back to this. Not much has happened, just we learned a lot about the character. Any other mother would probably find their only daughter's obsession with graveyards unsettling. Fortunately, my mom is just as weird as I am, so she doesn't question it. She must know my love of graveyards is her fault. I nod my head in recognition as I pass each tombstone. Alistair Doncaster, Irene Douglas, Charlotte Draper, Doreen Hughes, Abel Johnson, Genevieve Parsons, Aubrey Hedgewood. I wonder about these people, reduced to nothing more than names and bones. What lives did they lead? Were they happy, sad, or merely bemused by all coincidences which led them into being? For Alistair Doncaster, that happened in 1879. For Irene Douglas, it was 1894. What was the world like back then, when these people were alive, and their footsteps, not mine, crunched the leaves, and fell firmly against the compacted earth? I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine it. As I walk through the graveyard, like Alice sinking into Wonderland, a heavy thought suddenly strikes me. What would it be like if I was already dead? What? Close my eyes. A cold wind blows across my cheeks. I swear I can almost smell it. The earth in my nostrils, the scent of decay. Ah! What was that sound? It was almost like a footstep, but that can't be. I'm the only person here, after all. At least, I thought I was. Not anymore. A young girl stands there, her arms held by her sides, her eyes wide and blue. Her hair is loose, light brown, her fringe cut just above her eyebrows. She wears a white dress, long and modest, which falls to her ankles. The dress is comprised of a number of layers. It looks like something that belongs to another era, another time. In England, when Queen Victoria was on the throne, and the horse and carriage was still the main way people got about, and it was socially acceptable to wear bonnets in public. She looks like nobody I've ever seen before, except characters in period dramas. There's something so unrealistic about her appearance, I can hardly bring myself to believe that she's really real. Maybe that's why I'm doing something I rarely ever do. My curiosity sticks my throat. I find myself asking her a question. Are you going to the costume party? Are you referring to this old thing? That dress doesn't look like some old thing. It's expensive, right? I believe it was rather dear when Father first purchased it. Now, however, I'm not particularly well versed in the economy, so I could not give you an answer. Father? What kind of girl calls her dad father? Maybe I'm just biased. Because my dad's Spanish. Sorry. Maybe I'm just biased because my dad vanished before I was even born. Mom told me he couldn't go for the commitment, which is quite funny, really, because he had no qualms about commitment when he asked me to sleep with him. Quote, mother. But father sounds far too dated. I haven't even touched on the other stuff, she said. Oh, The girl smiled. Her face remains pale and does not flush. I can imagine blood coursing beneath her cheeks all the same. She gives no expression of blushing, even though she does not. I suppose most people use dad nowadays. Forgive me, I am not familiar with such a phrase. It sounds quite peculiar to me. And the plot thickens. My question only seems to invite more questions. I find myself drawn towards this strange girl despite myself. Sorry for all the yawning. I want to know who she is. I want to understand her. It must be this feeling, this desperate thirst for hidden knowledge, which encouraged Mom to track down what now remains of Zachary Kendall, Maribel Spencer, Rose Bradford, and the rest. So, I've not seen you around Barrowby before. Do you live here? I've lived here for a very long time. But you don't look much older than me. I will be 15 years old this December. At least I think I should be. So she's 14 too. You say that you lived here for a long time, but I've never seen you before. You don't go to St. Hugh's, do you? She shakes her head. So what school do you go to? Ruskin, Sandon, not Walton, girls. She shakes her head again. Then, are you homeschooled? That'll explain why she's doing this graveyard at 20 past 8 on a Friday morning. She's wearing such a strange outfit. She might as well have fled from one of those old-fashioned photography parlor places. I suppose I was homeschooled, yes. I've never been to school before. I used to have Ellie, but I have not seen her in some time. Ellie? A private tutor? Something like that, yes. Tutors are strict. She got so angry when I escaped from her stuffy old history lessons and hid over at the Lindens instead. She smiles a soft, gentle smile, like an old woman with rheumy eyes. When recalling a fond memory. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody my age pull a face like that before. Just who is this girl? But you don't have a tutor anymore? There wouldn't be much of a point anymore. She one of those YouTubes. YouTube celebrities. Oh my god. This girl. Toma, what are you doing? Is she one of those YouTube celebrities then? She looks the part in the clothes. I can imagine her as one of those eccentric, self-proclaimed living dolls who gets thousands of subscribers for eating food on camera. So, I'm sorry, this is the first question I should have asked. What's your name? Emily. Emily. I think I can remember that. It was a common enough name. There are two Emilys in my class, Emily Hargreaves and Emily Turner. I don't know if this name fits the girl in front of me, though. Emily sounds too simple somehow and unfinished, like a sentence ending without a full stop. I don't investigate any further, however. I hardly know the girl. What right do I have to ask so many questions? And if it would not be too rude, may I inquire as what I should call you? Oh, I should have expected this. When somebody asks for your name, it's usually only polite to ask for theirs in return. I don't like answering this question, though. I never have done. Just, what is my name anyway? It says Tom on my birth certificate, but I can't bring myself to believe that. Not when I was fated, before I took my first breath, to be called Amelia. Oh my, do not look so troubled. You'll make me feel guilty. I'm sorry. Ha, what a funny girl. You don't need to apologize. She thinks I'm funny, does she? That kind of stings, given how peculiar she looks. You do not need to tell me your name if you do not wish to. We all have our own secrets. Are you sure you don't mind? I'm quite sure. I could just make up a name for you instead. Well, I hope you're not adverse to this suggestion. I rather like giving people nicknames. I would always call Miss Warren Ellie. Chris. Her name was Helena, you see, but she got mad at me because of that, too. This girl has no manners, she'd say. She may have a pretty face, but she behaves like a gutter snipe. Not that I would give a button to what she thought. My father was paying her, though, enough, so I thought it was best to make her work for her wages. She may have found me irritating, but I certainly wasn't boring. Well, I suppose that's fine. And I can think of a name for you? Yes, it doesn't bother me. Anything would be better than Toma. Well, let me see. Millie looks me up and down, one finger against her lower lip. Her smile's teasing and her eyes flash mischievously like a naughty schoolgirl's. Enid Byton story. Should we consider talking about condensed milk and tinned sardines next? I'm sure of it. It is true we do not know one another very well, but that is just in the present. I feel that we could become quite close, if given the chance. You remind me so much of her, after all. Can it be a mere coincidence? I thought so from behind, too. When you turned around, it became clearer than ever. You have her hair, nose, and her eyes. Maybe even her forehead, too. It's hard to tell, since all covered in hair. Well, I look at the ground, suddenly awkward, and dig the tip of my school shoe into the earth. I shift my rifle slightly, making a small indentation in the earth. A minute grave for an ant. I don't know if I like being compared to other people. I do that enough myself. Even if I do like one of your friends, I don't think I want their name. I was hoping for one name of my own. Yes, of course, you don't need to worry about that. I will never be so callous as to address you in the title of another. I apologize if it seemed that way. She does sound sorry, too. truly sorry. Even if you look like her, you are not her. It couldn't be. It is not possible. A sigh. So let me see. Name for you. A name that belongs to you. And only you. I think I have it. From now on, you can be Verity. Verity. Do you like it? It's pretty. Much prettier than my real name. Emily smiles, her face flushing. Though once more, it doesn't really flush. I just imagined that it does. What happiness. But you notice that this girl's probably a ghost! The way she talks. The paleness. The dress. She's a ghost! The way she talks. Oh my god. Toma! Girl! Sweetie! You need to open your eyes. I'm so glad. I thought that the virtue names might be too anachronistic nowadays, but I'm truly fond of them. One of my aunts was called Charity, and my grandmother was Patience. Not that she was particularly patient. She used to hit my father for the smallest misdemeanors when he was a young boy. But that was a long time ago. But only for a few moments. Her face darkens, but only for a few moments. Darn it. I gotta do something. I gotta do something real quick. Okay, never mind. At any rate, I'm curious. Why are you in a gloomy place like this at such an hour? When you should be at school. Oh, I'm just at graveyards, I guess. They're relaxing. Relaxing? That is quite a strange thing to say. Why do you think that? I am not sure. I just like them. They're nice and quiet, and people don't come here much. When they do, they're quiet too. It's the respectful thing to do. Apart from the local boys who tramp out here drunk on Friday nights and piss on the headstones and scrawl rude words on them. I glance at a nearby grave. That of an Elijah, or is it Elijah? Pharaoh. Somebody has scrawled across the top of it in black marker pen. God is dead. Seems like we have a Bankstian of our own living in Barrowby. Who could have thought? And I like thinking of stories too. Stories? Yes, graves are small, and people have been buried underneath them are turned into names and dates. Nothing more. I think there must be more to these people than that, though. What were their parents like? Did they have any siblings? What was their job? Were they happy? What about all the people they met, whose lives they may have changed, without them even realizing it? Come on, click. There we go. I don't know about all those things. I never will. It's fascinating, but at the same time it's a little sad. I blush and my hands hang limply at my sides. Did I say too much? I think I might have said too much. This is why I don't talk to people at school other than Hattie. It's because I'm weird. And I know my fellow classmates, Emily, Hargraves, and Ellie Tower included, would just laugh at me. Well, maybe Amelia wouldn't. Amelia is too nice to laugh at anybody. That's what I think, anyway. It probably sounds stupid, though. No, I think you made some good points. I did? Yes, every person has a story, and there's not enough space on a single tombstone to tell it. Sad truth is, there are so many people in this world, it is not possible to remember every single story. As the years go by, they fall by the wayside. The dead must always coincide with the winds of the living, even in places like this. Emily looks back. Elijah, or Elisha, Pharaoh's grave, the grave with the biting political commentary God is dead, and sighs. I like thinking of stories too. In fact, I could tell you a story of my own. I have been turning it over in my head for quite some time, and I'd be intrigued to hear your response. I wouldn't mind. I'm quite sure. I don't want to bore you. I can't remember last time anybody wanted to hear what I had to say. No, I'm quite sure. I would love to. There was nothing else I wanted to do here anyway. Nothing other than wander, trying to avoid thinking about the school next Monday and how much trouble I'll be in when it's discovered that I've been playing truant. I always run away from my problems. I have done ever since I was a child. I must have inherited that admirable trait from my dad. Well then, if you want to follow me. Emily turns, her hair fluttering, slips through the graveyard like a shadow. I follow her, curious and cautious, as she leads me to behind the church. The trees are thicker and there are more graves. She draws my attention to a tombstone. Just one tombstone out of many. It juts out it juts out the grass like a tooth from a gum, slightly crooked. A few cracks run down its dark gray sides. Yeah, I can't talk today. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, let me just hold on to something. I need to mute every dang when I need to get on here. A few cracks run down its dark gray sides, and the top of the grave is fringed with pale yellow lichen. The name engraved into the tombstone was a little difficult to see, impressed only shallowly, and I'd have to strain my eyes to read it through the fog. I didn't explore the graveyards of Lincolnshire in my youth for nothing. I'm more skilled than most teenagers when it comes to reading inscriptions on gravestones. Here lies the body of Philip Burns, 1807 to 1851. Also, Perdita Burns, wife of the above, 1811 to 1851. Also, Emmeline Burns, their beloved daughter, 1836 to 1851. May their souls rest in peace. I shift, suddenly uncomfortable. Graveyards don't usually make me uncomfortable, but there's something about this tombstone that just strikes. This strikes a discordant note with me. Something here just isn't right. Now you're realizing it? 0 mile away. They all died in the same year. They did indeed, and all on the same day, too. I turn away from the grave, the final remnant of the unfortunate Burns family, and bite my lower lip. When I next speak, my voice is barely a whisper, even quieter than the wind. How do you know that? It's just a story. I already told you that. I suppose so, but when Emily said it didn't sound like a story. She sounded deadly serious. She looks serious too. Her eyes are narrowed, her lips pursed, and her face dark white, as though carved from stone. Fog swirls about us like a veil. It's thicker, even thicker than it was earlier this morning. I can taste the fog at the back of my throat while I inhale, and I cough. It tastes cold, rank, and repulsive. The taste of death. who is this Emily anyway? Who is Emily anyway? She doesn't look like any girl I know. She doesn't act like any girl I know. I'm almost tempted to believe, but that would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? I mean, it's a... the, why would that be ridiculous? This girl isn't blushing, and you're like, oh, that's fine. But but you're thinking that she might be a ghost. Like, wait a dilly darn second, that might be too ridiculous. God damn it. So, should I tell you my story? I'm not sorry though. It's rather dour. Then again, given our setting, what other kind of story could it be? You should already know how it ends. Okay, I think we should end it here. Maybe? Let's learn about her. Emmeline Burns, born in 1836 to Philip and Perdita Burns, led a charmed life. Her family was rather well-to-do, grandfather being a lawyer, father a banker, and she grew up in a large house with 5 bedrooms on the outskirts of Barrowby. Given her father's profession, he was often away in London for business, but it did not upset Emmeline. She was old enough to understand that her father needed to work so they could afford her nice house and their fine clothes, and the way she wore her hair, so she did not complain. Though she did not see her father for months at a time, when he returned home it was always with a present for Emily and a kiss on her cheek, and it was as though he had never been away at all. Philip was a kind man, though he may have not been a paragon of manly virtues. Oh gosh, he's drowned up a litter. If he were a pig, we would have drowned him in the well, Grandmother Patience always griped. Philip was not naturally predisposed to the world of financing, but he did have a good head on his shoulders, and he was relatively intelligent. Not even Grandmother Price could deny that. It was drew his quick wits, rather than his magnetic charisma, as which he was sorely lacking, that Philip had been able to expand upon the Burns family fortune, as he had invested a good deal of their money into the stock market. Emmeline really did love her father, despite his lack of presence in her life, or maybe because of it. They do say, after all, that absence makes the heart grow fonder. Even when Philip was not at home, Emmeline had a great deal to busy herself, and she was never bored or lonely. She would help her mother with her embroidery, or exchange idle gossip with the servants, or go long walks around the countryside, eating blackberries from the hedgerows and snacking her dress on brambles. Emmeline's long-suffering governess, Helena Warren, certainly had her hands full when it came to disciplining her rowdy pupil. Though Emmeline was not unintelligent, she had been born with a disposition of a sea captain or a polar explorer, and she was physically incapable of sitting still for 5 minutes. That is, unless she is with Cornelia Linton. Emmeline and Cornelia had known one another since they were both babies, and they were almost inseparable. They had spent most of their waking hours together, sitting on the lakeside in the Linton's private estate. They would stare across the untroubled waters, which carried along with lily pads, reeds, and fish with shimmering scales, and they would talk, sipping raspberry lemonade. Everybody in Barrowby knew that the lake in the Linton's estate belonged to Cornelia and Emily. They had claimed it through the countless hours they had whiled away by those grassy banks, feeding the fish and dipping their bare toes into the water. The lake was their private land, a secret garden everyone knew of, but nobody would intrude upon, until that it was Emmeline and Cornelia. spent the summers together, basking under the sunshine. Okay, might as well end it here. Just a lot of reading here. I need to look this game up again to see if it's a freaking visual novel. It is, and, well, I'm still gonna go on with it. It's just not as interesting as Sounds of Her Love, though. Actually, the only thing I don't like is, like, freaking Toma! You think her not blushing is not ridiculous, but thinking she might be a ghost is ridiculous. Ghosts exist, girl. You should know. You practically live in the cemetery. Anyway, I'm gonna end this video right here. It's been about half an hour. And I am getting tired. Okay, so if you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, leave a comment down below for recommendations, criticism, or anything of the sort. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!